Hey everybody, I just want to give you a tour of the Chuckwagon. As much as I think I'm the star of the show, I'm really not. Chuckwagon is. So I introduced myself, and now I'm going to introduce you to the Chuckwagon itself. So over here, we have the propane tanks. These aren't the propane tanks that came with the trailer. Um, the ones that, what happened to those is that on my way back from picking up my trailer, um, on my way from Albuquerque, I think it was in Mina, they fell off. So what happened is that they were smaller, but the nut came off here, and then they just fell off, and they were dragging by the hose on the side of the highway. It was dark, no one was around. Plus, in that little strip of road, there's literally nobody. So the tanks luckily were not filled; they were empty. So there was just sparks, and obviously, thankfully, there was no gas, so nothing caught on fire. But the tanks were shredded. I took it to Granite Propane in Silver Springs, and they told me that they wanted to take the tanks from me because they didn't want them in the public domain. They said they were completely unsafe. So I gave them to them because why would I keep them? So I went to Big R in Fernley, the one in Fallon. They were out of propane at the time in propane tanks. So I went to the one in Fernley and I picked up these guys. But much thicker metal, and plus they're actually larger. So I'm happy to buy these. These were a good upgrade. I'm gonna find a way to secure them to the trailer. Right now, I put them in the bed of my truck. The fire department really does not like me doing that. They told me that they have to be secured somewhere, so that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. Here is the jack. This isn't the jack that came with the trailer. I wrecked my other one. What happened is I didn't put the pin in there, and it popped off the ball of my trailer as I was driving through a residential neighborhood. It was a very tragic time. So I had to, and it actually broke my jack, so I had to install a better jack in, which is better because this jack I actually like a lot more. Plus, it's actually made a lot better. It's not a little flimsy piece of crap like the other one. So here we have the SO cord that gets plugged into the generator. The SO cord wraps around here, gets put into a box. The box put one goes to the exhaust fan that has a disconnect up there on the other side, and then the other one goes into another box on the inside, what takes it to the lighting. So it also turns on the lights and the exhaust fan. Here are some extension cords I'm going to try to get away with. It's kind of hard to install outlets into the trailer, so I'm trying to see if I can use these guys. I used them on my soft opening, and they worked out just fine. They're water resistant. Obviously, before I put them in the trailer, I'm gonna take a paper towel with a bleach and water solution and wipe them down. I'm probably gonna install them on the wall just so safe wise, uh, it doesn't get wet because I don't want to get electrocuted. That's not fun. So here we have the generator over here. It's an 8,000 watt generator. It's a little overkill. I actually don't need all this. But it's nice to have just in case if I want to hook up other appliances already. So we're going to make our way around to the exhaust fan. The vent up top is probably my best marketing tool because it takes all the good smells from me grilling and frying and it puts it out in the atmosphere, and people around the trailer smell it and they want to come in and get some food. It's happened before and it's definitely going to happen again. It's probably one of my best marketing tools. So if we swing around here, the trailer itself was made by hotdogcartstore.com. Well, I got it off of hotdogcartstore.com. But the company that made it was American Dreams Inc. It's ran by this guy named Ben Wilson. It's in Serville, Tennessee. That's where I picked it up from. It's a nice town. It's on the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. It's a really pretty place. I visited there in December 2 years ago. I'll definitely go again, even though that all the trees were barren because it's winter. It was still a very pretty place. So I installed some shelving, and then over here is where I was going to put my fire extinguishers. But I was a little bit of a doofus, and here's why. So I installed the hinges onto the wall, and I put the fire extinguishers on there, and I was driving around with the trailer with the fire extinguishers mounted on the hinges, and they just tore right off. So here's the other one. So I'm going to have to remount the hinges. This is my a little freezer. This thing works fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. So this gets connected into the side, and then here is the insert. So obviously the battery is going to go inside the box. It gets hooked up to some wires on the inside, and then here's a little insert for that. So obviously this gets connected into there, and it works perfect. Looks perfect. The freezer lasts for a very long time running off the battery. I've had it running for 32 hours, and it seemed like it could run a whole bunch more. I'm super impressed with this thing. This is where my wastewater tank is going to go. I have to rip this guy out. I ordered the 55-gallon wastewater tank. I'm still waiting for it to show up. It's not going to show up for probably around the end of Christmas. So over here, this is supposed to be the freshwater tank. I have to rip this guy out. I have to have it fit regulation. So I already have my 42-gallon freshwater tank. Regulation says I need at least a 40-gallon freshwater tank. So and actually I measured it, and it fits perfectly along the floor there. I just have to rip this tank out. That's okay. This is the fire suppression system. The pole is over there, runs across the top, comes in here, gets wired in over there. I want to make sure I have the hood running while I'm grilling, because if I have anything going on over here, then it's going to shut these guys off. It's going to go off, and then I have to pay $1,000 to get this hooked up again, and I don't want to pay $1,000. So down here, this is the water heater that came with it. I did some reviews on the water heater. Apparently it's a really good water heater. The only problem is that once it freezes over, it's broken. And it's freezed over many times. I tried to get it up and running, and it wouldn't work. It's broken. So I'm going to have to get another water heater. I bought one. It's down there. I have to get it hooked up. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to have to talk to somebody and try to figure that out. My fryer, I got it working. I got it connected to the battery, and I got it working one time, except on the day of my soft opening, it wouldn't work. So something probably came loose. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably get it set up to a similar fashion like this, where I have a plug, and I plug it into something that's connected to the battery. And I think that's going to be the more foolproof method, and I think that's going to be the route I'm going to take. And then the water pump has to be connected to a battery as well. So I might have to do a thing where I'm going to have a battery connected to each appliance. I'm going to have to have a battery for the fryer, battery for the water pump, a battery for the water heater, a battery for the freezer. So that might be something I might have to do. Obviously, this is my grill. It's a very nice grill. It's a Shintop is a pretty good company. It works perfect. Works perfect. I have no complaints with my grill, nor my fryer. My fryer is absolutely great when it's working. It doesn't over fry things. It fries things perfectly. I bet you I could leave something in there and let it fry for a very long time and it won't get charred or burnt. It's a really nice fryer. So over here I have cold storage for like condiments and stuff like that, relish and all that good stuff. So over here, what was in here before was some boilers, but I had to rip those out. Also the fifth fire regulation, because it was too far stretched over here. But also I needed countertop space. So when I was thinking before is that I was thinking about putting a stainless steel sheet across this as kind of like a table. But then I actually thought about this. is that cleaning that little groove right there, if it's going to be sitting on top and I drilled in, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, especially if the chili. And I think the better solution was just to get this little cutting board, because the health department says cutting boards are okay. So I'm just going to cover that on top of there. And then if I just need to clean it, I take the cutting board off. And I think that's going to be the best plan of action. It's pretty much foolproof. All right, and then of course, I have this guy. This little thing comes off. And it's a perfect little table. Then around the front, this thing folds down. This sign up here is actually magnetic, so I could stick stuff on there if I wanted to. I stuck this little light on just in case it gets dark outside, so I could flip that outside and it'll shine some light so that it would be better to see the menus that will be hanging up here. Although this is going to happen, and I say it's going to happen in probably 1.5 to 2 years, is that, let me step back for a little bit. On the side of the trailer, a little bit back, a little bit further. So on the side of the trailer, what I want to do is I want to install a TV right there. It's going to happen. It's something I really, really want to do. If Lancaster Auto Care was able to support the ceiling a little bit better, install that fan up there, because that thing is really, really heavy. And the ceiling was not able to support that weight. So what they had to do is they had to go in and put some more bars up there to support the top. So if they're able to do that, then I bet you they're able to find a way to cut this out and support a TV on that. But that's for a later time. But I'm just letting you know it's going to happen. And my spare tire, I actually like my spare tire better than the tires I have on the trailer. So what I might do one of these days is get another tire exactly like that, put those two on here, then use these tires as my spare tires. I actually have a nail in this tire right here, so I'm gonna have to watch it because there's a very slow leak on it. So I just want to give you a quick tour of the trailer, introduce yourself to it. Hope you have a better idea of what's inside the trailer and stuff, little projects I'm working on. It's there's still some stuff I have to do on it. It's still a working process, but you know, I'm mostly there. I'm more than halfway there. All right, so have a good rest of your day, and ciao.